Hello, friends.
Hey.
Ooh, hold on. Okay, wait. We got our guest in the back. She's excited. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Welcome. How is everyone today? We made it. We made it. Yes. Let me know if you can hear the music. I've been trying to get this ready. Nice little mood music. All right, let me get into my intro. Welcome. Where's my stuff? Hello. Hola. Welcome. Oh, hi, friends. We are here for another week. We made it. I'm on episode 16. I'm so excited. I hope everyone's comfortable this Monday. Come on, get in. Welcome. Show your love in the chat. Drop some support for each other. This is why we're here. Welcome to my Mayhem Streamcast. I'm tonight's host, DJ, of tonight's conversation. And I want to always thank StreamYard for powering my show. Thank you, StreamYard. Every Monday night, I'm here with a new guest. So I'm very excited about today's episode. We are kicking off May's Mental Health Awareness Month. And we're going to be talking about mental health. But, we talk a lot about that here. So it's nothing new. But it's always just exciting because there's like extra stuff to do. And, so here we go. We all know why we're here and why I'm here. I like to destigmatize. We like to create these spaces to normalize mental health, disability, and trauma. All those experiences that a lot of us share and have experienced. There's a place to share that mayhem, to create opportunities, connect, and be a voice to break those stigmas and stereotypes. I always add a trigger warning, and I always encourage discretion, as we can always talk about things that may be a little difficult, immature in nature. But welcome, everybody. I'm going to go say hi to the chat in a minute. I want to get the guest out, and she's going to enjoy the chat with me. I don't want to make her wait, but please, if you haven't subscribed, like, or follow me, please do. I always appreciate any support on my social media. And let's just get right to this introduction. I don't want to make her wait. She's so much fun, and I want her to come on out here and we can start Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're going to talk about addictions tonight, the importance of peer recovery and support. This is why she is here. She has been through a lot. She's an athlete. She's worked retail and corporate. She's realized that she needed a change in her life after living and struggling with addictions and vices. So she's here to share some of her story, and she's going to bring change and wants to share about peer support. She's a certified peer support specialist. So this is going to be really fantastic. Her personal journey, of course, has led her to this new career. She's now a CEO and founder of her own business at Sparkle LLC. So we're going to go ahead and welcome her out in a minute. And I know our chat is getting wild, but you know what? Let's go ahead and bring out Sparkle. How do I get you out here, girl? There you are. Hey.
Hey.
What's going on? Welcome.
How are you? It's good to be on your show.
Thank you. I'm so excited for you to be here. Let's go to the chat. I haven't said hi to anyone, and I wanted you to say hi with me.
I want to too. Let's see who's chatting.
So we got Sparkle Lindsay. Okay, well, let's see. Hi, everyone. We got James is here. Hi, James. Jen. Hello, Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Jen Russman. Yes. All right. So many amazing humans. James. Yes. Jenny, thank you for being here.
Jenny.
Jenny Gold, if you don't know her. Jenny Gold. Adam, what's up? Oh, Mr. KDJ. I think he's saying hi to Annie. Is Annie here too? Oh, my.
Hey, Kenny.
Oh, everybody just gets chatting away, right? So
exactly.
Sometimes you can't keep up. Jackie says, "Hey, DJ." Hi, DJ. Sparkle.
Hi, Jackie.
What's up? I know that Nancy must be here because I see a hi, Nancy. So,
yes.
Nancy, if I don't pull you up, my apologies, but I know you're here. So Annie must be in the building, in the virtual building.
Annie and Nancy, good to see y'all.
I don't see her name, and sometimes I miss things when I go back and watch the replay. And then I just feel terrible. Juana, that's Juana. What's up? Okay. Krista is here too. I'm missing stuff. I wish you could pull up comments from the chat. We rock in the house. What's up, James? Yes.
Ooh.
Bill Bradford.
Nick's
here.
House, y'all.
Bill Bradford's here. I should have. See, this is why I wanted you here, because I can't do this alone.
No. Hey, Bill.
I'm going to go back real quick. I know Twitch. I love it. Here we go. What's that?
Here we go.
Jackie brings some really cute stuff.
Yeah,
Hedgie, it's in Europe. What's
I
up? I know
he
all
said, "Boo."
right. Yeah. Boot. Yeah, he must be talking. Ryan, what's up, Ryan? Thank
Hi,
you.
Ryan.
I appreciate you. Even on YouTube. Yes. You
Yes.
should check out our Twitch. That's where the chat is real hot and popping.
Yeah.
You don't know about the Twitch chat yet, but they go,
Hi, Adam.
they go wilding out. They go wilding out over there. Oh. Okay, we all need Usama here. Yes, we do.
Oh,
yes,
yes,
we do. Yes, where is he? And he's in Cyprus, so I know, he might be tired. It gets late over there.
You're right. Yeah.
Hello, Alana.
Hey, that's my girl, Alana.
Hey. Hello. Let's give her some love too.
Yeah.
Hello.
My YouTube channel for me there, Miss Alana.
That's all right. That's nice. All right, Diru, showing up. Hello. Thank you. Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't not miss one person. So I'm scrolling up real quick. I appreciate everyone's support. Sparkle is here. Addictions. Peer recovery, such an important subject. Yeah. I mean, addiction is one thing, and I think we've heard a lot about addictions. We can touch on what addictions are a little bit, but we're not going to focus on addictions. So, yeah, that's definitely part of tonight's conversation and why the importance of it is, right? Like that peer, that the key, relationship with having that peer, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The relationship, the benefit, right?
Yes. Okay. I think I took a little peek through the chat. I didn't miss anybody. I really appreciate it. But all right, Sparkle, let's chit chat. Where shall we start? I mean, this is a really important subject. So, yes. I don't know. What do you think? Let's see. Peer support, addictions.
Yes. They go hand in hand. They go hand in hand, DJ. For me, I will be, wait a minute. I'll be sober 2 years tomorrow. What the heck?
Yes, congratulations.
On Melanie Ake's show as well, just to celebrate that. So I'm extra pumped about the 2 years of sobriety and just where it's taken me, DJ, like no doubt, right? And the big piece is my addictions. My drugs of choice were cocaine and alcohol and Molly. I love those addictions. And boy, oh boy, did they love me. And they still do, but I stay away from them now that I've been working through sobriety. But the only way that I probably could have stayed sober right now is the fact that I do have to work through a lot of my emotions and I have a therapist. But I was introduced to being a peer recovery support specialist, right? And I fell in love with this role, like right when I found out. Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate it. But I fell in love with this role. Thanks, James.
So sweet.
I fell in love with this role like right when I started, and I realized I could start talking to people and seeing how they were doing, telephone recovery support, calling people, asking them, congratulations on your 7 years as well, Adam. That's awesome. I see all these people who are in recovery and it just makes my heart melt. I'm sorry, I had to stop.
No, that's why we're here. We're celebrating together.
Yes. And I think a big portion of it is the work we do to get through it. And everybody that is in recovery on here, you guys know, and those that are in recovery from any type of ailment of addiction or any type of emotional wellness, it is a fight. We fight through it. And so knowing that fight is happening, DJ, I knew then that I wanted to walk alongside people and watch them take their life back. And so that right there is what I do as a peer recovery support specialist. And it is off the chain. I see so many different walks of life, so many different experiences, and it makes my heart smile. That's why I see all these people in recovery and I'm like, I know they had somebody walk with them too,
Yes, absolutely.
6 years. You see that?
I did, Jen. That's amazing. Congratulations to you, all the beautiful people here. for this. Yes, absolutely. Hi, Enrique. Welcome. Thank you. Loving the setup, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone else is chatting along, so I'll just let them chat along. But yes, absolutely. It goes hand in hand. I always talk about like support systems, regardless, when it comes to mental health, disability, and trauma. Support system. So in this peer recovery type of treatment and relationship and coaching, I couldn't even, how can you break it apart, right? So setting, creating that caring and that nurturing environment, that openness, I believe, of open communication must be a very important trait that you should have, right, when you're working in that recovery space.
Well, they call it the art of recovery coaching. For me, I'm also a transformation coach. So putting both of those together and, allowing people to watch my journey and watch my lived experience has really helped others find their way, like they finding out what they want to do, right? And so I think a big portion of this is the fact that I don't have to keep somebody's stuff, but they can talk to me about whatever they need to. And they know that I alone am going to walk along with them no matter what it is. And so walking alongside somebody, hey, Chastity, walking alongside somebody who is down, you know what I mean? They need help. You call them and you have the same stories as them or the same lived experience. You can tell them, when you battle, for me, I battled depression as well. So depression, pain, having a lot of pain because of autoimmune conditions,
chronic pain.
Life, I needed somebody to help me. And, in my heart, I didn't know how to ask for help. And finally, I decided to surrender. And I decided to say, you know what? I surrender, and whoever's here to help me, stand strong, raise your hand, because follow me through this, and help me, guide me in the right direction. I think a big portion of that right now, it gets me kind of teary-eyed because it shows me how many people walked alongside with me and became my peer support specialist and didn't even know it.
Oh, yeah. Naturally, right? Just naturally. Yes.
Yes. And I think a big portion, James talked a lot about veterans there. We also have recovery support specialists. I am one. I have a veteran that I hold dear to my heart, and we walk alongside each other weekly and talk about PTSD. We talk about these things together. And I really just love to sit and listen to their stories, listen to what people are feeling, having that sense of support, that village, creating legs to your table so that you are not alone is what I love to do. And that's really what has gotten me involved in this role. And I think I'll do it for the rest of my life. I know I will.
Right? Yes. Yes. I mean, just being there, advocating for these communities, for this need, to advocate for education and connections and supporting one another. I always talk about compassion. One of my favorite values, showing compassion for one another.
Yes.
So.
The compassion that as you work on yourself, you start to find compassion for yourself and for others. You slow yourself down and you start to take things for what they are, not what you want them to be or what they were, just what they are right freaking now. What we are right now in real time. That's all I can handle right now. I ain't even gonna lie to you, right?
Right. I don't want to deal with the past. I can't think of the future right now. It's too much. So yes, right now. It is really the most important thing.
It is. It's one of the most important things. And, things are constantly changing in our lives. And we constantly have to make decisions and we constantly have to let life live us. That's my slogan. It says, let life live you.
Somebody type that in the chat.
Yeah. Let life live you. Yeah. So many people ask me what that means. And I go, do not pull and push from the universe. I mean, allow life to give you what it's dealing for you. Allow to take those cards, Be mindful of yourself and others so that you can move forward and find inner peace for yourself. And a big portion of that is what I've done, but a big portion of that is what I love watching other people's find and take back for themselves and help themselves be the best version of themselves, right? And then
Yeah.
and I feel their energy. I feel as they start getting more momentum and as they start really feeling themselves, they're totally all about taking their life back. And I get to watch
Yes.
every piece of it. I get to hold their hand and walk through it, right?
I'm definitely in that space right myself, like trying to take myself back, trying to really get down to those deep presenting values that drive me. I'm doing a lot of that searching through that ickiness, right? Oh, what's up, Salty? Everyone's, you can feel free to look at the chat and say whatever you want as well. But yeah, right. It just really taking an inward look. And I talk a lot about that.
Yes. The inward look piece, right? I think I was talking to one of my friends. I have been on edge. Okay, so I've been on edge for the past 4 or 5 days, going into this milestone of 2 years. I am not even gonna lie. I have been crying. I have been like yelling at stoplights, and I'm the only one there, creating chaos, not knowing what I'm doing. And then I'm myself and I'm saying, Sparkle, you're a real piece of work. Can you calm down? Calm yourself down.
But it's part of that emotional, right? That emotional, like, that.
Yes.
Yes.
Feeling, but checking yourself at the door, checking yourself daily and recognizing and meeting myself where I'm at. All these past 5 days, I've been like, where are you at today? What are you feeling? I do this every day as a ritual because if I know where I'm at, then I can meet others where they're at by letting them know what's going on with me. And so a lot of that is being able to tell yourself and talk to yourself and give yourself permission to be okay with feeling a little agitated or grumpy at times, right? You sometimes you gotta hold space for yourself,
Right. I like this comment that Deeru says. It can be hard to separate from the depression from the recovery.
Yes. It can be. A lot of times, for me, when I fell into depression due to me being very ill from my autoimmune conditions. I couldn't walk. My pain was it was excruciating. And every day I was drinking to just suppress it. And then before you know it, I'd drop into these days of depression and I'd be like, I don't even know where I am or what it is, what day it is, and ultimately I finally, when I went to get treatment, when I finally said, I just got to get treatment, I got to do something. I was having trauma. I was having major trauma where I was having nights, over, just everything you could think of, pain, nightmares, drinking around the clock. Okay. We're talking staying up late. I wouldn't go to sleep. And my body was just, it was tanking. I was trying to hang on and be this strong woman, right?
And you coming from being an athlete, right? You were an athlete. Yeah.
Executive, I got all this. I am a strong Black woman. But I'll tell you one thing. The strongest I've ever seen myself as a strong Black woman is right now in these 2 years where I have had to go in on myself and surrender everything I've ever known to make sure I could start figuring me out. And that right there was the surrender where I had to say, if it's your will, let it be done. I have to get this for me. I have to work on this for me. And I can't focus on anything else but that. Everything else is going to pull me out of what my mission is. And that is to be healthy and happy and sober, for the rest of my life. And that's what I want, but in order to get there, I had to do some work, girl. I had to do some work.
Still working. We're still working. Every day. Everyone. We're still every day. We'll be working that. Right. And it's about having those techniques that work for you, knowing your boundaries, knowing your space, knowing your environment, knowing your systems, your processes.
Your processes, your coping mechanisms.
Copings, yes.
Patience. How about that one? Because the gift of patience will get you any day. You got
I like to think I have good patience, but then sometimes I'm like, man, I don't know. Do I? But I try to.
Yes, I
Oh, yeah.
do. I know that the biggest piece I learned on patience was when I was sitting there with my therapist, and I and I told her I'm sitting in this AA meeting, and I don't understand why people keep talking because we could probably end early. And she goes, Sparkle, isn't an AA session like 1 hour? And I said, yeah, but if people just stop talking, we could end early. This was like my first week of going into treatment.
Right.
And she
Yeah.
said, so what are you gonna do if they end early? And I was like, well, I don't really know. And she goes, so you just trying to tell the meeting to hurry up so that you can hurry up and wait. Where are you hurry up and waiting to? And from then on, I was like, I, I guess I'll sit here for an hour. I'll just be
Right. Right.
like I'm rushing things. We rush things and we want
All the time.
everything. We want results now, right? But really and truly, the time we give ourselves to have those results in a timely manner is so surreal. Like the feeling, the time you waited, the lessons you learned along the journey, right? So
Right.
definitely a huge thing is the practice and the mindfulness and the awareness of your patience and having compassion for others and yourself when you might not be that patient, and recognizing that.
Yeah, you definitely got to pay attention. That's one of those things. Just being able to quiet and pay attention, and just, it's hard, right? I've been working on reframing.
Okay.
And catching myself. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, that's something I might have to reframe. Let me write it down.
Let me write it down.
Let me write it down. I'll come back to it. But you got to catch yourself first.
Yes. And the fact that you're aware that you got to catch yourself, woo, that's growth right there, girl.
Right. Baby steps. Baby steps is okay.
Exactly. When I started noticing that I was doing things, I was like, wow, I do that?
Right.
What? Now I'm like, oh, here I go again. Or here I can feel this, or I'm in tune to this, or you know what? I'm not that happy about that. That really did hurt my feelings. Being able to talk about the emotions and walk through them is probably one of the hardest things in the world to do, right? We're taught to suppress our emotions and to not talk about how we really feel. And
in so many different ways.
And in so many different ways that you don't even realize that you are suppressing these emotions. And so the fact that I was able to feel again through this journey, being able to feel again and actually allow happiness and sadness and anxiousness consume me is a blessing. I was so scared of that. And I would drink and use to do that. I would drink to suppress it, right? And now I feel the emotion. And because I recognize that it's temporary, it's not permanent, I am just so blessed to walk through it, and now I'm like, bring on the next emotion. Let's see what happens, right?
And you talked about doing it hand in hand.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now you're not only doing it alone, now you're doing with someone else, right? So you're both relying on each other. You're both communicating with each other. As one is feeling something in this stage or this state, the other one can be there to assist and support. And it's a back and forth, right? It's a give and take.
Yep. It's a give and take. It's a good thing to listen to. You hear, like I said, lived experience.
No judgment.
Yeah, no judgment. The main thing is that, one of my clients, she said before, I think it was last week, Sparks, I had a reoccurrence. And, I said, okay. And she's like, you're not upset? I'm like, oh, no. We don't get upset at reoccurrences. We research our relapses. We figure out what trigger set us off, what made us do what we're doing. We grow from that sometimes. And I'm not saying, we relapse all the time. But if there is something that set it off, why not figure it out? Why not be curious enough about yourself that you can figure out what sets you off on a regular basis, so that when that point comes up where you feel like you need to use again, you can remember what that feeling was before and probably walk right around it. But we got to do the work on it in order to figure out what we do and don't want to do anymore. And so I tell her, don't you have a reoccurrence, you call me anytime, because we are going to have a very fun time figuring out exactly why we do what we do. And that's for anyone with any addiction or just in life in general. Figuring out why we do what we do is one of the greatest gifts that our higher powers or my higher power could ever give me. And I know once I finally, have gotten that, it just makes things a little bit easier to walk through, even when they're difficult, Whew.
that was sweet. I hope we got that clip, because I could not interrupt, because
I think we got it, girl. No,
you just pulled it right out of there.
It was coming, here we go.
But that message is so important.
Yes, it is. It's crazy important. So I think what you were talking about, and then somebody walking alongside us, right?
So
the big piece, accountability is so big. What is your support?
Oh. Yes, James had a question. Okay.
Well, James, my support. So what I have is I have a therapist. I have a recovery coach. I have a sponsor. I have primary care doctors. I have dentists, all of these things that we sometimes neglect ourselves with. I have the gift of self-care. I have done multiple work on cranial sacral work, trauma therapy, and so forth. So everything that I suggest as a recovery coach, I will never have not tried myself. And if there's something new, I will try it too, because I believe in multiple pathways to recovery. And I believe in people being able to create their own recovery package because they believe in it. As soon as somebody has the ability to do that, they're walking on their own. They have something they believe in. They're going to manifest it. They're going to throw it out there, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen. And the reason why is because when you know that you own something and you hold yourself accountable for it, you want to make sure it looks good. You want to make sure that you do it to its best ability. So why not do that for yourself? Why not fight for yourself, fight for your life, and do it with your life package? And that's what I've been doing, fighting for my life. I feel very valuable in saying that the supports I have, they're my sober warriors. And all of them, they have all helped me. I needed a village and they said, let's do this. So, I think anywhere you're at, go find that village, find the legs to your table, get that base and get going, do your meditations, ask around and see what people are doing, different forms of AA and so forth, and last but not least, you said it, Ryan, self-care. Self-care is extremely important, and not enough of us know exactly what that is. And for me, I really didn't. Push myself aside, took care of everybody else except for me, giving away all my water and having nothing left for me. Not no more. And I think on Usama's broadcast, I talked about how my cup is abundantly overflowing with nothing but replenishments of love for those that get the overflowage, but I always keep my cup full. And if I don't, how the heck am I going to help anybody else?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Right. So, it seems like you went from a fight for your life place to, hey, my cup is full and I'm ready to give back.
Yes. And I went from being what they call the doormat. I had the doormat syndrome going. I was everybody's, I'll fix it. I'll do it. I'll do this. I got it. Oh no, I'll take care of it. I went from you know what? Y'all got to fix your own stuff, because at this point, I haven't fixed anything with me. And that is exactly where the drinking and stuff started. I was so exhausted from helping everybody else out that I had forgotten, what are you doing with yourself? Right. And so that was when I knew the fight for my life. I knew I had to do it because nobody else was going to do it. And no one was going to do it as best as I could, You know what I mean? No one was going to do it
Absolutely.
better than me because I know me best, right?
Absolutely. Right. We all know ourselves best.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, this is good. One serious toolbox, how you take an account for every nook and cranny in your life.
Mhm. Yes.
So,
Awareness so much better than fear. Yes. You know, the things we're in fear of are the things that actually we've never really tried or they have never really happened. So we're in fear of it
ooh,
before we even really know what it is. I know for me, I used to be like, I'm in fear of cooking. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't really like to cook, but
me neither. I'm
if
not.
anybody wants to cook for me, you let me know. But but I do know how to now. And before I was so scared, I was like, what if I burn something? What if I, and that was all fear. But when we
Mhm.
take that fear, we throw it aside, we try it. Guess what we do? Every inch of that, we step deeply into our power. We get so
Yes.
into the power scheme that we now know, we ultimately know that we're here, we're doing it, and we're in the now. Don't sit around being in fear of it. No matter what, if it's not what you thought it was going to be, at least you did it and walk with somebody through it if you have
Yeah.
to, right?
I would just think that would make it that much more
Fun.
easier and more like finding it's relatable, right? It's
Mhm.
comfort. There's a sense of comfort in that. Like, whoo.
And the
I know.
stories after, like, oh, that was rough.
Right.
I'm glad
Right.
you're here, right? And
Yes.
wondering and saying thank you for the help, right? The help, you know.
I don't want to miss this comment how self care isn't selfish.
Oh no, 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 no.
Very good. Very valid,
Very,
Salty.
very valid
Very valid.
because when I first started and someone said self care, I was like, but then that, what about everybody else? And then this is when my first starts of treatment. And they were like, yeah, what about everybody else? If you're not okay, Sparkle, how you going to help anybody else, right? Because now here we are again. You don't know the things you like and you dislike. You don't know the things that make you happy and don't make you happy. You
I
don't
found
know
a host.
any of these things. You don't know any. I would host a dinner. Well, good.
And we have a baker. Okay.
Some baking going on. You notice I had to look down at that real quick and say, "Oh, we got some people cooking in his house."
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry.
but yes, self care is so important, and I know for me, a big portion of what I do is I do people's self care acts with them. So I had a recovery who's like, Sparkle, I love to work out, but and I used to do this too. When I used to work out, I used to drink, and I used to do coke, and I'm like, me too. And she goes, I don't really know if I'm going to be able to work out sober. I said, well, then let's go do a few sessions together that way. So we had sessions together sober. We worked out sober. We do that every morning. And so for her, it's a rhythm now. It's a
She
routine.
created a new healthy pattern.
Yes. And it's right
Replace.
involved in her reinvented routine of being sober, doing what's right for her. And then on top of that, taking care of herself at the same time and staying sober, you know? All right, Ken,
Yeah.
savor the
I know.
flavor.
I like Juana. So she made a comment. I've been eating my feelings, my friend. No bueno. So that's true, right? Eating, overeating food.
Yes.
Yes. So that also falls into addictions.
Yes, the big piece with addictions, we no different than when we overdrink. The big piece is I walk with someone who does, they overeat. And right now they're doing great. It's not really so much about the weight, but it's the process that we're going through and the walking through emotions. The person that I have, few of them that I have deal with trauma. So they're really not eating, they're eating the trauma. And so a lot of
Yeah.
it has to be what type of work or what are you holding on to that's making you feel like you can't breathe. I mean, I hope that makes sense. But for me, I was drinking because I wanted to release all this stuff, but I had distracted myself from myself so much that I couldn't release how I really felt, you know? And as soon as I started relinquishing control and just allowing things to happen and releasing what was going on with me, the emotions, walking through the emotions got easier. And then I didn't feel like I haven't felt like I needed to use the drink, you know? Now I always crave. I'm always craving, I always have triggers, but I'm
Mhm.
aware of them and where they set me off at. but it all becomes full circle as you start walking through those emotions, because then you know how to deal with them better. And once again, they walk with me through that. So whatever they're feeling, I can say, "Ooh, I felt that way before too," or I just want to
The
listen.
empathy.
Yeah,
The
just
empathy.
what's going on. Yeah.
There's a good question from Ryan. How do you support a friend when the relationship's becoming toxic?
Well, I
Hmm.
did a really big mental health piece, the importance of mental health, like I want to say maybe a month ago. And I had a friend who was going through treatment with me. Everything was going well. And we would have been in the same track, and she had a reoccurrence. In my heart, I love her to death, and she's hanging in there. But one thing I had to do is, once again, I had to realize that when things are toxic, for me, okay, I have to keep moving forward. And one of the hardest things I had to do was, because I was so close to that person, I had to accept her journey for what it is right now. And I have got to stay on my journey. If I get sucked back in, then there both of us are trying to do something. And I'm so close to her that it could end up really hindering her more than anything. So I really have to accept the fact that she's going to get the help she needs. And I'm going to give her a few people that can help her, but it can't be me, because we're too close. And boy, oh boy, does it hurt your feelings to have to leave people or go separate ways and find what you need in your life. It's
Right.
probably one of the biggest things I've been working on, is letting go of people, still loving them, still understanding them, but the gift of letting go of things that you love and the people you love. It's probably one of the hardest things I've had to go through, especially in addiction, period, because those people used to roll with me. Those people were
Yeah.
getting sober with me. And now all of a sudden, you start seeing people kind of fall off, and then you're holding on and you realize that you're by yourself. You are alone. And that's why you got to get to know yourself better, because when it comes down to things getting real, real tricky, the only person that knows you is you. And you got to know when to separate yourself from the pack. Not everybody is going to do the same things you're going to do. So it's definitely, it hits home for me every time I talk about it, because I always want to go back and fix something.
Right. It goes back to that too. Right. Yeah. That friendship, that relationship, that.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Yes,
And
I always
sometimes.
want to go back. That fix it thing is that. And,
Oh,
Jen
what's
said
up,
it.
Carl?
Hey, Carl, what's up, my man?
Hello.
But
Yes.
like Jen said, most don't make it. And they say 80% of people do not make it, 20% do. Yes. So it's very big. So, daily, it's a daily occurrence. Whether I'm at 2 years or not, I'm starting off today, and today is all I have. And since it will never come again, I always think about what I'm going to do with it. I
Mhm.
always do. And I just embrace where I'm at. And I know today I'm not craving. I know today I'm on this wonderful podcast with you, and that's the only thing I can say at this moment in time. It keeps me grounded, keeps me focused. Everything else, it will evolve as it may.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Super helpful. Yes, she's
Oh, cool. Thanks,
amazing.
Ryan. I'm glad you were listening.
There's lots of people listening.
Yes.
No, but this is so important. It really is. And it's just touching and talking about all these
Yeah.
different things and how really they're all intertwined and how everything is so closely related. You talk about this, but you're talking about this, which leads to this.
Uh-huh. It leads to the whole shebang. And then when you come into it, you're like, so it has to do with me.
Right back. Right.
One. It's all
All arrows point towards you.
right here.
It's true. It's so true. But and we talk about that. I talk about that every week, whether again it's through a mental health issue or but you have to do the work, you have to be aware, you have to be comfortable with yourself, you have to
Oh,
start
yeah.
creating an environment to possibly feel safe, right? Even just going to the basic fundamentals for those that don't have access to services or don't
Yes.
have access to they're not in the safest environment either.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's all those other social factors that we haven't really touched on
Yeah.
this episode, so we should. but
Yes.
it's so important, those environmental
Oh,
social situations.
yes, the environmental wellness or social wellness, these are parts of the 8 dimensions of wellness that I follow
Mm-hmm.
for myself and the goals that I have for myself. I don't really like to use the word goals. I like to use intentions,
Okay.
because I guess for me, goals are so long term and they're so like
Ooh.
out there. I
I've
live
always used the word goals, so I'm like,
I live in the now. I live in the intentions that I ask for
okay.
myself. But sometimes if I get too far out with goals, it becomes a checklist for me. And then once I meet the goal, I'm like, what? When I think of it as an intention, it means that I am making it a practice so it is fully a part of me. It means that it becomes my well-oiled machine and I'm using it to be the best I can be in the near future if I get
Right.
there. So I I like to really talk about that. But when we talk about environmental wellness, a lot of the reasons why I started realizing I was having like 27, 35 clients, and I'm like, dang, I can't do all of this. I can't do 35 people like with all these energies. So what am I going to
Right.
do? And that's when I told you before, Alana Pulowski, she's on this, but she said, you should do a YouTube channel, Sparks. And I said, okay, let's do one. So I noticed doing the YouTube channel, I noticed having a Facebook page and everything else that people, and I send my quotes out daily. People are like, God, I can get a little bit of sparkle any way possible, and ask the questions and call and do those things. So trying to be available in every asset and letting people know it is okay to tell and talk about the things that bother us.
Yes.
Some of the things we don't
Yes.
want to talk about them. You deserve it, and so do I. I want to hear it because ultimately we're holding too many things in and we're not talking from our hearts to say how we truly feel. And someone
Right.
next to you or down the street feels the same way and they can be
Right.
walking alongside you. So I think don't hold in those experiences you have. You stand up, you talk about those experiences from the bottom of your heart, and you don't look back. The difference is that what somebody can hear from what you're saying or can feel from what you're saying could save their life and it could save yours as
Yeah.
well. So just remember those things.
Yeah, it's so important when we talk about breaking stigmas, just having those conversations, vocalizing, changing the language,
Yes.
being mindful of the language,
Mm-hmm.
um, but just pushing it, saying it's okay, finding those commonalities and
Yes.
creating that space to say, hey, me too, right? I've been through that too. And then you realize, oh, it's just my friend.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's just my friend, right? So then the perception changes. It's not this diagnosis anymore. Now it's my friend, and it's
Yep.
normalizes everything, right? And now I know, maybe
Mm-hmm.
now, how can I help my friend better,
Yes.
rather than having this preconceived notion or judgment of what
Mm-hmm.
um the
What they
stigmas bring.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
think another thing is that's one of the reasons why I say meet
Good.
people where they're at, right? Meeting
Yeah.
people where they're
Yes.
at on a daily basis. Because if you check in with yourself and ask yourself how you're feeling daily, it may change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It may seriously change for you daily, right? So how in the heck is it not going to change for someone else? And if it does, who cares? Listen to what the person's saying and meet them where they're at. Because ultimately, if you don't, you might be having a conversation that makes no sense. So
Yes.
meet them where they're at so you can feel and hear where they're at. So you have clear, concise communication with one another. You can acknowledge the situation, you can enjoy the situation, right? Or the
Yes.
conversation or whatever it may be. So I
Kindness doesn't cost anything, Enrique says.
No, kindness doesn't. And finding
Yes.
compassion for yourself and others doesn't cost anything either. Compassion. Bye, Jackie. Have a good one. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah,
But
she's
so, yeah,
great.
kindness. Kindness is one of the hugest things that we can practice daily.
Right. And you
You
never know what's going on the other side. Right.
know?
True. It's
Mm-hmm.
right. It's who's in the grocery store next to you, or children, right? Who's around your children, the teacher, or when you're going to the school, or whatever those situations are that we're all dealing with here and
Yes,
there.
there was this story I heard. It was on a meditation, and it talked about this guy. He was on the subway with his kids, and his kids were running all around, and people were starting to get extra upset, and they were like kind of whispering, like, "I wish this man would get his kids," you know what I mean? All this, and he's just not saying anything. So one of the guys goes up to him and says, "Hey, your kids are kind of running around and all of that. Do you mind maybe having them stop?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even notice. My wife, she just died today, and we left the hospital about an hour ago, and I feel like I can't breathe." He said, "I didn't even realize they were doing it." It changed the narrative real quick. The guy immediately said, "That's okay, man. How can I help you? What can I do?" So the fact that he didn't even know that this man was grieving his wife, his kids are grieving their mother, and he doesn't even realize they're running around. That was his world in that moment. And he didn't even recognize it, And so for the guy to say, "You know what, don't worry about it. What do you need help with? How can I help you?" It changed the narrative so quick, and everybody heard the story. So they're like, "Holy moly, this dude's dealing with a lot." Right. And so you just
We
never
don't know.
know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Especially even the people within the chat, even the people that we interact with,
Mm-hmm.
We
just know.
Just never know. So
yeah.
And we all know, like, the statistics on things going up, right? Whether it's domestic violence or abuse, different types of abuse. So things are happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're happening.
Things are happening. People, that's
are hurting. Yes.
Yeah, people are hurting, and I think a big piece is that, are you hurting? Right? Ask yourself, are you hurting? And if you are, it's okay to hurt. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about it so we can be vulnerable about it and learn it. And it's being vulnerable is not easy. Now we've talked about that all day, especially with Carl on the line, because he has a show that talks about vulnerability. But being vulnerable about it or surrendering to what's actually going on is, gosh, it's scary. But when there's others that are like, "It's okay, I'm here," it just really changes the narrative. People understanding where you're coming from.
I feel like you're just like someone's helping you take a load off, right? A bag off of your shoulder. And it's like, okay.
Yes.
All right. Someone understands, that understanding piece.
Yes. And the understanding piece, that's really like,
thank you, Salty.
Yeah.
He's asking if we're okay. Okay.
Yeah, we good. I'm good. You good?
Thank
you good, Silver Fox? Did we?
He's showing he cares. He's showing he cares.
Like you've been warped into an emotional time, because I have a tendency to do that.
Yeah. No, but that is so funny.
Yes. So I definitely, like I said, kindness, loving, finding where you fit in your puzzle, finding that inner peace, working with your shadow person and yourself. Okay.
Dorothy Ann, welcome.
Hey, Dorothy. But finding your balance, right, between your alter ego and you, because we have them. Right? I have one.
Sure, yeah. I have one. Oh, yeah.
I got a sister. I'm not.
Listen, people will tell me, they'll be like, "Listen, D, I can tell that little angel when you're looking at the angel. I can tell when you're looking at the little devil." Okay. You're very clear when, like,
yes, we can tell. No, you.
So,
and I learned that my dad, he was talking about it. I've been doing some quantum Reiki with him, which is just off the chain. The energy just has been awesome. He said so many alter egos.
Salty.
You gotta, when you look at those alter egos, you physically know, like, man, that is me. But here's the thing. Someone said, "Well, how do you get rid of it?" Well, why? Why would you get rid of it? I asked that question, DJ, because, me and my dad were talking about it. And your alter ego also protects you. Your alter ego, as long as the shadow is not fully overtaking you, like how it had overtaken me in my addiction, right? I now know that the balance that I have has made me a well-oiled machine because of it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I learned to embrace my alter ego with me, put it all together, and we got us a good freaking recipe. That's how I look at it, right? As soon as I allowed that to come out and I started exposing it, my alter ego, now my alter ego feels a part of me. So there I am. I'm able to walk fully like a well-oiled machine, mind, body, and spirit. And I know I can tell you, yeah, alter ego is coming out. So I'm going to go to my house and just hold some space for myself.
Oh, there you go.
You guys take a load off.
Okay. Robert, hi. He just came into the
Hi,
chat.
Robert.
It's nice for you to stop by. There,
Yes.
Juan, I answered your question. I knew that was Robert. So, yes.
Cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate
Oh,
that support. Thank you
yeah.
for coming as well. I'm all alter.
I love it. Yes, Adam.
Oh, goodness. Some people live in their altar.
Yes, so that's normal.
Okay. And Kenneth, you saw my comment. He says he doesn't have one, but
Oh,
we all know he does.
okay. I love his little emojis.
He's
Tell it
funny.
all.
Yes. But wow. Look, we've been chatting.
We've been moving.
We've been moving. Is there we need to start wrapping it up? I don't know. I mean, we've been just having a great conversation.
Really
So I don't know if there's anything that we should touch on. If you had anything that you had been like left undiscussed that you wanted to go back to. I had a fantastic. If the chat has any final questions, throw some questions for Sparkle. But yeah, like we've been run through a lot of, I think, really important subjects, the important part of the peer recovery support.
Yes. And the important part to the help that is out there for you to receive.
Being available, or how people can find it, maybe. How can people find or search for peer support in their local area?
You know, they can search for peer support specialists in their local area, and it usually pops up everything that can help them. Do you know what I mean? Like any type of sober livings, or even if you just need a therapist, people who deal with alcohol addiction or any addiction for that matter, all of that stuff pops up. So a lot of it, I know for me with my website, that's one of the biggest things I try to do is when I collaborate with another state or whatever, since I'm nationally certified, I make sure their website is straight up on my website. Make sure there's stuff there so that people can go to these resources if they're not in my area. You know, my number is there. And if it's one of those where you got to set up a discovery call and call me and we figure out what works for you in your area, then that's a doable thing as well. So it's available for you. I think a lot of people just don't know the resources that are actually out there, you know?
Right. And I think that's part of bringing awareness during mental health awareness, is helping them find, or what can they search, Google search at least these keywords, right? Make sure they're certified, or, and not only just peer support, but if there's not a local peer support group near you, other options that may not be, should peer support groups, are those paid for services? Do you know?
Yes.
There could be a variety.
There could be a variety, because peer support services have just now started getting huge across mental health. So there are, like me, I'm a mental health and an addictions peer recovery support specialist because of my depression and because of my addiction stuff, right? But there's also but they also use peer support specialists in the hospital. They also use them for people who are, like I said, battling mental health. NAMI is a huge organization.
Love NAMI. I love NAMI.
And I've done some great things with them as well, trying to work on the co-occurring, both alcohol and addiction, along with if someone may be bipolar or schizophrenic. How do you work through that, right? So that's another portion that's there. And then, for me, I have a person who's going through gastric bypass surgery. And so I am their transformation coach. They found the things before they could even go through that surgery. They needed to make sure they were right from within themselves. So we're working through that journey now, as we speak. So can be utilized in so many different elements. Also, peer recovery coaches are also used in in drug courts, and
Oh,
just with the courts all
sure. Yep.
together. Yeah, they have had people starting to
When we've had, well, and I worked with DCF, and I work, well, Department of
oh,
Children
that
and
too.
Families,
Yep.
and we have parents that
Mhm.
have to go to drug court, or are mandated or
Yep.
required or told
Yep.
to have to go through substance abuse treatment. And before, peer recovery really wasn't anything, but I assume now really it's becoming a critical component in that support system for
Yes, I actually have a client who is about
shout to
18 months
Nami.
sober. Yeah, she's 18 months sober now. Got her children back. Was with me for 18 months and is doing fabulous. She came from DHS, DCF, and they called
Mhm.
me. They had me be a part of it. It was a full transition. We made that into a process. And now, yes, there are recovery coaches who walk alongside people who are trying to get their children back and they're trying to get sober.
Yes, I
And
know a lot.
their life all over again, right? Like, whew.
Right, really is a lot of collaboration with local government,
Mhm.
county, state governments are really
Yes.
supporting this peer recovery
Oh, yeah.
approach,
We
and
also
really, because it's really working. It's
it
really
is.
showing how successful it is and how it's really saving lives.
Yes, and another thing, we did a pilot for in the Colorado Springs area, Memorial Hospital, and there is where we were actually able, as recovery support specialists, to go into detoxes and sit down with someone who needed help. And the hospital allowed us to do that, and they had a huge turnaround in the people who kept, repeating and going back into the hospitals. A lot of them, when they got us, we were able to get them into treatment. We were able to get them where they needed to go right away, bridge the gap so that then they wouldn't end up back in the hospital just going back and forth. They had a place to be and someone to walk with them while they did it. So
Right.
all of this stuff is amazing. And it's just when somebody knows your experience and they know how that they know how you feel. They may not know exactly how you feel, but they've been through it. It just
Sure.
changes the narrative so much. And you feel like you're home. You feel close to the person.
I I agree, and I do appreciate that. I had a thought, and you were talking, and then I lost it. But that's okay. I mean, it really doesn't matter. And it's probably something that we already talked about in the last
A lot of stuff.
hour. Yeah, but no, that's really excellent and so important. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's fantastic. Anybody that's in any part of the recovery, they
World.
can reach out. It doesn't matter what,
Yeah.
if you've relapsed, if you've never been to recovery, if you
Yes.
think you have a problem or an addiction. So any stage is, I guess, it's okay to reach out. Any stage.
Yes, any stage. Here it is. I will be airing a series of different things for my seminar, Being a Better Me for Me. And one of the
Mhm.
big pieces is that we are at levels. Sometimes we're at levels where we're like in pre-contemplative mode, where we know there might be a problem, but we're not sure. And also, we might be in contemplative mode where we know there's a problem, but we don't know how to make an act. We may
Yeah.
be in preparation mode where we're ready to do it and we're still a little scared. And then we also may be in the action and then we're in the maintenance. So there's a whole thing. It's the stages of change. And a big portion of that is being able to recognize where you're at and who to call to do that. And so no matter where you're at, it don't matter, call. Even
See?
if you just want to talk, well, if you want to talk about cooking some dinner, that you call. But that's neither here nor there. If you need some
Right.
if you need some help with alcohol addiction, any type of addiction, transformation, go ahead, give me a call. We can talk about it and see if we're a good fit. And if we're not, I will get you to the right people that need to get you there. I definitely will. And I won't stop till we get it done.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone knows how to connect with you, Sparkle. I'm
Yeah.
gonna drop it in the chat, but the chat does not allow it to go out to LinkedIn. So
Okay.
um but we can tag her. We can tag
Yeah.
her. Tag her on the replay. She's right here.
Yeah,
She's right
tag me, DM me. I have a LinkedIn, a Facebook,
Yes.
YouTube channel, Sparkle, the light at the end of the tunnel. So with all that stuff you have, you can get a hold of me and I will respond. I'm very good at responding back. I know when there's a crisis, when things are just not feeling good, when you feel like if I could just talk to someone, or if I could just just say something, or somebody just listens, right?
The middle of the night or the darkest moment in the middle. Sometimes it's like you feel like it's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning and nobody's awake. Where do you go? And that your mind starts to consume you.
The mind starts to consume you. You always want to hit that crisis line. Okay? The crisis center line, you always want to hit. If you have someone who's near and dear and close to you, give them a call. Do not hesitate to say, I need help. And I think overall, if we do that, you guys, it will alleviate a lot of things. It may not alleviate it fully, but suicide. Thank you so much. The crisis text, I appreciate it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Juana.
You guys. Yes.
I do have the suicide one here.
Yes,
Nice.
Same thing. Suicide. If you have somebody you need to talk to, let people know where you're at. Let people know what you need so that we can get you what you need to get that help. And I say this from the bottom of my heart because I don't think enough people understand that there are people out there ready to help and they're ready to listen. Give yourself the opportunity to allow it and it will happen. There it is. National Suicide Prevention, all of those things, you guys.
Yes, and the veterans one, I had it up. Super important. I think we talk about that too, and then creating those relationships and nurturing those relationships and friendships so important. So that's why peer support recovery is just so it really works. It really does. Just because all those wonderful building blocks.
Yes, the building block. And the great thing is that you get abundance of people who can help you. Recovery coach is just one leg to your table, and there's other legs to your table too to make sure it's held sturdy. So that's a big portion as well, mind consumption.
Yes. Okay, my dear. I don't know. Is there anything else? I feel we had a great episode. May's mental health awareness. So we're going to keep this awareness going. I appreciate you for being and sharing.
I told you before when I first met you and we talked, I'm like, I'm so honored that you'd asked me to do your first episode. Yes. I love your vibe and I appreciate and value your time. And I value the fact that you take heed into what I have to say. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, Sparkle. That message, your story. I mean, so many can relate and so many can really say, you know what? Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for me. If she can do it, if they can do it, if all these people can do it, support each other and are chatting away and they make it seem relatable and fun and it's not that taboo, that's stigmatized. It's not that bad. Okay, then maybe there is safety in numbers.
There's safety in numbers, especially when you got sober warriors behind you. It's an awesome thing. Thanks, Jen. We love kicking off the month like this.
Yes. Yes, connect. Yes, everyone connect. Y'all connect. Okay, that's why we're here. Yes. May the 4th be tomorrow. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Someone. Okay. Amy Bryan. Hello. Hi, Amy.
That is my old boss from back in the day. She's still hanging in there with me, and I value that. She's had some great stories I talk about daily. And one of the biggest things is she always believed in me, even when I wasn't truly worried about myself. She knew I was going to get through it. So I can say, thank you for dropping by. And I value your time and I value her showing a little bit of love. Thanks, Amy.
Absolutely. People like that showed you that compassion, that showed you that patience.
Yeah, that's 12 years ago. 12 years we've known each other. So that's awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Precious, a gift. Sparkle, she sure does.
I like that.
Yes, normalizing the conversation is powerful. That's why we do it. That's why we do it. That's why we're here. She says hi. She loved that shout out. Welcome. We hope you come back. We hope you continue to share in these conversations and support.
Exactly.
Okay, my dear. I mean, we could keep going and we could keep going and I'll keep going. And if we keep going, they keep going. So
And then we all keep going, and then we're gonna be
we all
tired.
keep going.
So we just
But we're going to go ahead and close up shop
for
and say
sure.
thank you to everyone that was here, joined in the conversation, is creating awareness with us, is
Yeah.
lighting it up, sharing, and still continuing to do what they do and work and persevere, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Continue to work, persevere, find it
Yes.
in yourself. You know, the big piece is tell yourself what you're deserving of. Remember that, and what you
You do
intend
deserve
to
it.
do. Yes, and what you deserve. Throw it out there and manifest it, and it will happen. It's inevitable. You know, trust in yourself. That's what I say.
That's it, my dear. All right. So I guess that should pop on the outro. We're going to wave our goodbyes.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Good
We
night.
appreciate you.
Everybody have a good night. Thank you for stopping by.
For sure.